Hello and welcome my friends back with new Tearlament content. Obviously it has been a while my friends, hopefully you have started well into the new year. And now with the ban list, I had to think. We got a lot of support in Age of Overlord and I've been working on adjusting our Tearlaments deck profile and cooking up some combos and stuff like that. And then they hit us with this, the ban list again. They're banning 2 Ishizu cards. Hiya. We're not even the best deck. Fire decks burning everyone's money and bank accounts down. What do? They ban Tearlaments cards. But now the question is, are we truly Agi done? Or maybe we're actually Kel back? After this joke, I'm going to mill myself IRL, but let's see. Today I'm going to show you a new deck profile. If you like it, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on the future test hands where I will dive deeper into what this deck can do for you all. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, let's get right into the deck profile and see what this new tier deck that I've cooked up for you can do against the storm of fire that is brewing even now in 2024. Our tiers will put out the fire and we will show Rescue Ace Mate. There are firefighters, but they are the fire, they are the problems. So now we're going to solve that with some water. And let's put the drip down. Only 2 Reinoheart, 3 is, we don't need that now. Maybe someday Kid Colors comes back from the shop, then we play 3 because then it's just infinitely more better. 2 is more than enough, and then obviously get in line the girls. Not much to say, right? We're waiting for rarity upgrades on this. Maybe with the next rarity collection, we'll see. The stepsister tier cache just works wonderfully. Not really much to add. It's just mill 5 cards, just profit. What do we have here? Pearl Rhino, 3 of these, just good. I never want to have less. Actually, let's play 4. And then obviously Rivesolve, adding not only the tier cache, I guess, spoiler, then we are screaming on top of our lungs because we are getting hit by the ban list again and again, but it's not a big problem. And again, playing multiple of this is just like, what are you doing? Then 2 Saliak, again, where rarity upgrades for our cards. What is this, Konami? Obviously great cards. 3 is too much, 2 is just fine, 1 is too little, you're going to miss it. We're playing 1 Meta Noise as well. I feel Meta Noise has become a bit better again. And we are minus a few cards in our deck, so we definitely have place for this. And then lastly, Trivic as our last trap. Obviously, again, not the best card to have, but we can deal with it. And we have many ways to get rid of unnecessary or unwanted cards in our hand. So that's it for the tier cards. Only 1 Ishizu card left. Personally, with the ban of Kelback and Agido, no need to play Diviner anymore, because Diviner sent Keldo. It's okay, but it's not really something I'm losing my mind over. Maybe at some point I will add this back because Diviner is just really good, but without Diviner being a valid normal summon into mill 5, Diviner also has to go. By the way, in case you're wondering, also no Foolish, it's just Foolish into mill 5, good. Foolish into what else now? Into mill 2 with tier cache, just not good enough. And playing 2 of these here, that also doesn't seem like any good idea. Honestly, even before the ban, I was cutting back on only 1 Shuffler because that was more than enough. If more graveyard relevant decks come in, obviously then maybe 2 is fine. But so far just having 1, not only to interrupt our opponent, which obviously is good, but also if we get cucked, then we have ways to shuffle back our tier cards into our deck, right? So that's the reasoning behind just the 1 Keldo here at this point. Then our friends, the King of the Swamp, obviously giving us access to a plethora of fusion options, mainly just 1 glorious one here. As long as Kit is not here, we need to play King of the Swamp. We're not playing 3, that's way too much in, I think, 40 card list. That's just no. 1, also, you're just not going to see it ever. 2 is just fine. And we're also not playing Polymerization because, that card just doesn't do enough for us to warrant its mediocre place in our deck. Then these are the enemies, but we're going to play just 2 of them. Actually, I guess 3, whatever. Fenrir, obviously a really good card. Free body on board, good going second. This is mainly just a blind first, right? We're just going in and just setting stuff up kind of deck, so that's that. But Fenrir just going to help if you lose the die and just don't believe in yourself, I guess. Overall, just strong card, not much to add. Again, adding tier cash, just good enough. Unicorn, adding birth, and also again the interruption in our opponent's turn, getting into the extra deck, especially if it's the game 1 and you get knowledge upon what your opponent plays, or even if it's game 2, game 3, you know what cards you need to hit and what cards you need to banish out of that extra. Just again, like kind of a hidden effect people don't really think about too much anymore. It's just really good getting that SP Litter Knight. They're only going to have 1. Unless they, I mean, I guess, unless their dad works at Konami or whatever, they're going to have only 1 SP, so you banish that, and they're not going to banish your tier cards anymore. Big profit. And yeah, Kashtira Birth is just a custom card. I mean, we can normal summon level 7s, we have a few of them. We can revive a Kashtira card, that's not only these 2, but that's also tier cash. And yeah, also again, the hidden effect to banish cards from our opponent's graveyard. I mean, at this point I'm just reading the card text because it feels like people don't see the value in this with Tearlaments, but it is what it is. So just a bit of tier and cash synergy, and then also we have some tuners coming in, 3 to be exact. And what I value in this deck overall is again the strength of cards in our hand and in our graveyard. There are cards like the Shadows, for example, which don't do anything in hand or sometimes even on field. They're just really good in graveyard. But we're, especially nowadays, we're milling way less than we used to. So our cards in hand need to be strong so that we facilitate more plays, searches and mills to then get into our tier cards, right? They've been cut down, we are limited still. And yeah, it's tough life, so we need more cards to be reliable in multiple spots, right? Jet Synchron is a bit special here in this case, but still, you get him onto the board, and then in graveyard you can get him back, right? He has a good graveyard effect, a solid one. We're going to talk about it later on. Revolution Synchron, we don't have to speak. He has an in-hand synchro effect, comes back, mills 1, facilitates also as a level 3 and then a level 1, just a good load of plays. Destrudo, in-hand effect, dark, level 7 as well, right? We could even normal summon this with Cash Birth. We can do all kinds of things, right? Also graveyard effect. All 3 have graveyard effects, these 2 have hand effects. I could talk more and more about why these cards are like so good in this case here, but we're going to see that right in the extra deck sooner rather than later. Next, as it's really tier and friends, we have some other friends that also like decently like the graveyard. 3 Imsety, obviously, as a dark, very important, right? As a dark, we're going to talk about it in a sec. That's key. Then Hapi, I mean, this is like, I guess, the worst card in your deck, but it is what it is. Maybe they will print a better one at some point, but we'll have to make do. And then we're only playing 1 Sark. I was thinking about playing 2, and like at times where I was playing like a 50 card deck, playing 2 was kind of fine. It's not even that bad if you draw both of them, or if you draw Imsety with a Sark or something like that. It's not even that bad, right? So no worries there, but it is what it is. Just cutting down on cards that don't do anything when milled is also something that is something we need to keep in mind, right? So what I mean, I don't really need to explain the Horus engine. I think we are making Zombie Vampire, we're milling, summoning back, profiting. Another really nice thing about this is obviously that Zombie Vampire and this card are also like staying on board after having done their due diligence, meaning we have some fodder for something else. But yeah, overall pretty neat stuff. Milling is more rarer than ever nowadays, so yeah, we have to make do with this, and honestly it's alright. Yeah, I was talking about cards like Sark or the Zombie Vampire staying on field, and they are food for another Age of Overlord mini engine. Luckily, I mean, in this case, I didn't know that they would be that expensive, but I guess Konami doing these as secret rares really puts up the price. So I know this is not something like everyone could afford. It is what it is, right? Just buy a triple bonfire, my friends. It's going to be less expensive. Yeah, no, not really. So yeah, my point is, yeah, I'm pretty happy that this is the ratio I decided before even Age of Overlord came out. And yeah, luckily I don't have to buy multiple of these. The good thing is here again, it works well with the sarcophagus, right? I'm going to talk about how the engines work well with each other like after this. So stay tuned for that if you are like questioning my cooking here. Yeah, just great. This gives us access to our synchro plays, right, with the Jet. These cards just free material searches, good in graveyard. They're also darks, they have graveyard effects, they summon. It's just free. It's just free plus bam bam bam. Sure, we're fusion summoning, but we're also like doing some link summonings here and there. So overall, getting more materials, more plus is just yeah, overall always a good thing. And then like lastly, our last friends here, excuse the poor rarity here. But yeah, it's just a very small danger package. I mean, Nessi as a Dark Aqua, I think it's pretty clear why we play it. But also with some of these cards, it can happen very, 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 very rarely that you have some not so happy like hands, and then using the dangers to clear up your hand, just nice. We need to play one other, obviously, danger with Nessi to like benefit from the effect. And Mothman as a Dark level 4, I think that's like pretty free. I have been thinking about playing Jackalope, but yeah, just Mothman as a level 4 is just infinitely better. So yeah, that's that. Lastly, again, we're only playing one extra foolish here. Now grab your sunglasses because it's about to get shiny. We're going into the extra deck, starting with our fusion, and of course we have to play yeah, the Starlight rare Lulu. No rarity upgrades necessary there, Konami. Just absolutely gorgeous card, lovely card. I mean, yeah. I'll stop. Kaleidoheart, obviously, there are rumors about him maybe getting a rarity upgrade soon, but secret rare is still fine. I mean, I don't have to talk about what the cards do. I think in the Tearlaments Deck Profile now, after this deck has been out for nearly 2 years, I think you know what the cards do. We're playing the Dragostapelia, the Mud Dragon, pretty standard, and then yeah, the Grapha. Yeah, nothing too special here. If you're siding Super Poly, then obviously like you want a few more targets here, especially the Garua. Nowadays it's just a bit good. But yeah, these are just our basic 5 fusions. Let's just put them maybe here to the side. Then we're playing the Ancient Fairy Dragon that I already talked about. It's just so good. Don't forget the summon effect, right? Always helpful to get an additional body from your hand onto the field without sacrificing your normal summon. Then again, level 7 plus like any of the level 1s. Visas Amritara, right? We need a light monster, and it doesn't have to be the tuner, right? It's the other one. And in this case, it's going to be the Ancient Fairy Dragon. Visas Amritara, obviously, just really nice due to the 2 effects that it has. First, it searches a card that mentions Visas, which is, yeah, it's most of our tier cards, right? Or rather, tier spell traps. And then it has the effect for, like, to get an attack boost by sacrificing, rather, destroying one of your own monsters on board. Meaning, with Visas Amritara, we can trigger Tearlaments monsters that we have on board. Next thing, it's also a tuner. So there's a really cute little line if you have Merrli on board. And I mean, we have already fusion summoned or whatever. You can destroy Merrli with Visas here and obviously fuse. But you can also synchro summon with Merrli into a Baron. Visas might seem a bit sus, but actually pretty versatile card. Next, our tiny little XZ friends. I mean, Time Thief Redoer still pretty helpful. We are still having quite a few level 4 cards. And being able to proc a fusion summon in our opponent's turn. I mean, it's nice. Zombie Vampire, I mean, we don't have to talk about it, right? With the Horus engine, that is a pretty interesting card. There is the, what was it called? #1 Buzzkill or something. An insect monster. That is also looking pretty interesting, and like maybe it's worth considering if we need like reliable access to the opposing extra deck. Maybe that's something worth to consider. Now we're running a plethora of link cards. Cross Sheep, pretty simple. I mean, everyone knows that at this point that Tearlaments cards, fusion decks can just really abuse this card, or rather abuse profit from this card. That's also a way where we can use our Tearlaments for synchro summons and then summon them back with Cross Sheep later as yeah, as a way to use them again or destroy them with both of these, right? So that's just nice. We're playing the Sprint. reliable way to use the bodies that we generate with our other engines to then send Merrli to then get into at least one fusion summon, right, if that is something of your concern. Now we're playing the IP and you know what's coming next. Budget players, close your eyes and ears. We're obviously playing an SP Little Knight. It's just a very powerful card. And yeah, this deck is spewing out monsters. We're like filling up the field, right? It's a tidal wave of monsters coming at our opponents, and as such making like link monsters like SP, IP. It's just super easy and obviously super good right now. Lastly, this is a bit of a flex spot, I'd argue. I guess Grapha is also not that great in some cases, right? Grapha obviously an anti-blowout card, better in game 2-3 after siding. Underworld Goddess is something that you might be able to like side in and out like yourself. If you're running super poorly, obviously you have to make a few adjustments to your like locals meta or whatever. Right now decks like Pearly aren't really a threat to everyone. But yeah, just having an out to a Noir or something like that is sometimes a bit better. So my friends, here I'm going to explain to you how all of this mess works together. Let's start in the corner that you can't really see. I'll pick it up. It's the Horus cards, right? The Horus cards, basic stuff, obviously, they facilitate milling. We start from milling. Milling, obviously, everything positive comes from there. They're generating us tons of bodies, right? And yeah, we can already continue how this works well with the Diabellstar package or with the Diabellstar cards, right? Because once you activate or use the Horus engine, you have the zombie vampire on the field, you have the sarcophagus on the field, and the monster that the zombie vampire summoned back, right? So you have 3 cards on field. Obviously, the monster that you summoned back, in most cases, that's the best one. That's the one that you want to keep. The zombie vampire and the sarcophagus don't have really any further use. Sure, they're alright, right? Having them better than not having them. But they're free fodder for our Diabellstar and obviously the original Sin. Right, obviously there are 3 cards on board that we can send to get off their effects. Not only is this tiny engine here, a plus engine, generating bodies on board, and so on, getting cards into the graveyard that you might want there, and etc. Not only that, but it also gives us a level 7, which is something we talk about maybe later. It also gives us access, obviously, to Jet Synchron, right? The Fire Tuner level 1, just great. Jet Synchron, in most cases, honestly, it's not for the most of our synchro plays. It's just a really nice body to have, right? Obviously, yeah, once you summon it with original and then you can revive it back, you know the effects, right? I'm not telling you anything new, but it works well, getting us into our synchro stuff. Not only that, again, the level 7 with maybe a Revolution Synchron, instant Baron de Fleur, just great. And yeah, while we're at it, now we have access to our synchro cards, which means Revolution Synchron. Yeah, we can use the graveyard effect of it to summon it back, and so on and so on. This one in most cases with like our level 4 tier cards, which are our main cards, I guess. Instant level 7, coming back instant Visas Amritara to search more cards. Even making the brick, the Trivikama, obviously into a monster negate. That's what Visas Amritara offers. And again, don't forget the hidden effect of both of these cards to pop a card on your field. In this case, I guess it's only a monster, but yeah, you can destroy your own Tearlaments cards by card effect, just great. And yeah, we don't have to talk about Destrudo, good in-hand effect and good graveyard effect, always instant level 7. And the Ancient Fairy Dragon here, it's going to be better in the near future with the Horus field spell. I think that's something worth incorporating maybe into this mess of a deck. Yeah, because we can swap our planets out, right? Pearl Rhino obviously is the one that we want to end on if possible, right? Not only a good search, but also like interruption setup and everything else that we want in our opponent's turn. And yeah, then we have the option actually to swap into Rifesoft, not to mention again the summon effect. Rifesoft, he has multiple options, right? Getting into Unicorn and Fenrir. I guess if we have a Fairy Dragon, we can't really summon them. But obviously we can always go into our tier cache, which, I mean, you know what that card does. So that's how all of this lines back to getting more mills, to getting more bodies onto the board. Obviously here nice interaction, Fenrir can search tier cache, Unicorn gets us birth, and there are just really nice interactions with Unicorn, birth and tier cache, for example. I'm not going to go into every detail, but also something, your birth, if you read it again, yeah, it works also with other level 7s like the Diabellstar or the Dangers. We're playing a very small danger package here, mainly the Nessi as a Dark Aqua for Kaleidoheart, which, well, right, we have the Reinoheart, we have the fusions, we have these. We could substitute with King of the Swamp as an Aqua, but yeah, just getting Nessi in, just always quite nice. Not to mention the Dangers here, all are dark, so Mud Dragon plays always on the line. And the next thing is, like, we have some cards here, it's very, very, very unlikely so far. I've not bricked in my life, but in case that you draw some cards like Birth, I don't know, Hapi and Trivikama or something like that, right, you can't play, then you still have the Dangers to free up your hand, which is overall something this entire deck can do, right? That's what I focused on, playing from our hand and field and graveyard. So yeah, we have cards like the Horus cards, free up our hands, right? Discard, draw new, summon, etc. The Diabellstar cards, right? Which can obviously send from field, but they also can send from hand. And again, cards like Trivikama, which usually are a bit annoying for us, we have even used for that with Vitas Amritara if we have not used our ways to get it into the graveyard. So yeah, coming back to it, our planets, right? One, obviously, if we have not found access to tiers yet, which is a bit weird, then we can just search Pearl Rhino and get to Scheiren, Reinoheart, whatever. And then we're only playing the 2 King of the Swamps for Grapha, yeah, Tearlament of the Dark World, and Tearlaments Lulu, obviously. Just some really strong cards that you can have access to, in many cases just positive for you. Not to mention, again, King of the Swamp can also be used to make Kaleidoheart very easily. Sure, it's not the best card, but also it being a level 3 in some cases can work well with the Destrudo, just getting like different levels, right? If you target this one, it becomes a level 4, and then you can actually use the Destrudo and like our tier cards for the rank 4 Time Thief Redoer instead of going for the Ancient Fairy Dragon, which in some cases obviously is not the best plan. But now you've like seen a kind of a roadmap, how like one engine gets into another, gets into the next, gets into the next, and how it all will lead to more tier cards coming into the scene and putting down the pesky fire decks. Okay, this deck list might be a bit wild, might be a bit out there. We're not going for any hero strategies or something like that, even though it's good. But as I said, we're looking for more hand value instead of graveyard value only, especially with less mills, having the hero stuck in hand. Yeah, not good. But hope you liked it, and as I mentioned earlier, make sure to subscribe and maybe like to not miss out on the future test hands where I'll dive deeper into some things this deck might do for you all. Hope you enjoyed, take care, and see you soon. Bye bye, my friends.